A man sits at an old typewriter in a cluttered office. Outside, children laugh and play. Inside, Elias types. This is the story of the Last Eulogy. It's the sound of a gentle old-timey music box, the rhythmic click of a typewriter. The air is still and a bit dusty. Elias, a man in his 70s with kind eyes and a worn cardigan, sits at an old wooden desk piled high with files. Sunlight slants through a dusty window, illuminating motes of dust dancing around an old royal typewriter. He looks at the file in his hands, the name Arthur Vance yellowed with age. For 42 years, Elias has written eulogies for the local newspaper, giving voice to the voiceless. But this one is different. There's only a handful of facts, a basic obituary, no stories, no anecdotes, nothing to go on, just the facts. And Arthur Vance, it seems, led a life devoid of memorable moments, passed away peacefully, the file read, survived by no one. Elias closes his eyes, thinking back. Over the years, he's given countless people their final send-off, celebrating their lives, their loves, their losses. But how do you eulogize a man with no loved ones? A man whose life was a mystery, even to the town he lived in. He thinks of Mrs. Gable, the woman who lived on the corner of Maple Street. Her family had given him a long list of dates, anniversaries, birthdays, all important, all expected. But the mailman, he told him about the roses. Every morning he'd leave a single rose on the porch, a silent tribute to the man who'd brought sunshine into her life. So Elias didn't write about a wife or a mother. He wrote about a rose left on a porch, a quiet kindness only a few knew about. He wasn't just a writer anymore. He was a storyteller, a keeper of memories, a guardian of ghosts. But as the day wears on and the sun begins its slow descent, Elias finds himself at a loss. Arthur Vance had lived among them for decades, yet no one remembered him fondly. No stories come to mind, no images, no whispers of a life well lived. Defeated, Elias returns to his office, the weight of the blank page pressing down on him. As he stares at the faded photograph in the file, he sees it, a faint smudge of ink on Arthur's finger, and a tiny, almost hidden smile. The poet. Suddenly, the legend comes rushing back, the old town tales of a man who left behind ink-stained poems and paid for the next person's coffee. A man known only as the poet. And Elias realizes that this isn't just a story he's writing, it's a legacy. He sits down at the typewriter, his fingers hovering over the keys. Then, with a deep breath, he begins to type. Outside, the sun dips below the horizon, leaving streaks of orange and purple in the sky. Inside, Elias types, bringing Arthur's story to life, one word at a time. He writes about the man who walked among them, the quiet observer who touched their lives without them knowing it. He writes about the ink-stained fingers and the hidden smile. He writes about the poems that graced the town with beauty. He gives a last, final gift. As the last rays of sunlight fade away, Elias finishes his eulogy. He looks at the words he's written, a bittersweet ache in his heart. He may have been just a writer, but in Arthur's story, he found poetry. And in the quiet of his office, surrounded by ghosts and memories, he realized that sometimes the greatest stories are the ones we never knew we were living. Fade out.